So here's a disclaimer about this particular video. So the first part, I recorded this days after when the Big House Smash Brother Melee tournament announced that they had to cancel due to Nintendo's cease and desist situation. I'm gonna give my thoughts about that one. And then the second half is sort of a follow-up because more development that happened, but I'm probably gonna just give my quick thoughts about it. So with that, here are my thoughts on the whole Nintendo situation, why they're doing this, and it is just unfortunate in my opinion as a person who's a Nintendo fan seeing it outside of Japan. Hello guys, NautoAis here, and this is going to be a response to the Smash community who gave their thoughts about the controversy with Super Smash Bros. Melee and Nintendo hashtag free Melee, but particularly to Miles923, who is not part of the Smash community. However, he gave some thoughts about the situation, and I kind of want to respond and kind of extend to some of the points of what he said. So first of all, my thoughts on the controversy with that big tournament, Big House, with Super Smash Bros. Melee being shut down due to the fact that they're not using legit or official games. It's a ROM, whatever. I just think that Nintendo's just being douchey about it. That's really it. But for me, I mean, I'm not part of the Smash community, so I mean, the only game I like to play that I want to see people play is Ultimate, but there are people who like Melee, and some of them are playing Melee for their career, their livelihood, so I kind of feel for them. But yeah, I mean, it's just douchey for Nintendo for doing that. That's really my thoughts about that one. But in this video, I want to extend to what Max said in response. So he gave some key pointers of what happened with Nintendo versus esports / the Smash community. So some people already gave the history about Nintendo and Brawl, and they didn't want Brawl in an esport tournament. Of course, the biggest one is Smash, Melee, and Evo 2013, if I remember. And then Nintendo said no, and then but because of a lot of uproar, they said yes. So first I want to talk about that situation and what happened there. And the reason, from what I heard, why Nintendo did this, and again, you gotta keep in mind, one, Nintendo is an old Japanese company, so they're very old school. They follow Japanese tradition. Two, a lot of this decision comes from Nintendo of Japan, not the US, Japan. I mean, everybody, Angry Joe, Big Cheese, everyone, on YouTube basically said they can agree that Nintendo of America likes what the YouTubers or the influencers are doing. Nintendo of Japan, on the other hand, they don't like it. They don't feel right. They don't feel comfortable. If they can't control the narrative, they're going to do whatever it takes to shut it down. So in the case with what happened with Melee versus Evo 2013 is that when Joey Seller, yes, at Evo, he allowed it, Nintendo said no. Why was that? So apparently somebody from Nintendo said that Nintendo were not comfortable using their game as an esports entertainment. So you gotta understand, first of all, Nintendo, they're not very in tune to esports, and believe it or not, as of right now, they're still not. There was a financial report with Furukawa. One of the investors actually asked, what do you guys think about what's happening with the esport? Do you support it? Do you not? And Furukawa said, well, we do kind of support the esports scene. Bullshit. But we're not prioritizing that thing. So that's really what the key word there is. And the bottom line is that they're saying, yeah, they are well aware of the esport, and it's great, it's helping, quote unquote, market Nintendo, but to some extent, they don't prioritize it. They don't think it's important. It's just something secondary that helps them make money. It's more about exposing their product to the general consumer, the family, the kids, you name it, the non-gamer, not esports. So they are well aware about that one, but to some extent, they don't prioritize it to a point that, well, whether you like it or not, they don't really give a shit about it. I mean, that's the truth. They don't give a shit about it. That's why they hardly support the esports scene. barely. So that's what happened there. So then later on, Max talked about between 2014 and 2015 how Nintendo was being so much assy, claiming copyright claim ID, to some extent strike on YouTubers who makes a living, especially Angry Joe. He's always pissed. That's why he never does anything Nintendo, because one of his biggest complaints was the minute he puts in a Nintendo product, it's Content ID. So Max did say why the Wii U is not selling. So for people who don't know what's going on and what's that have to do with Melee, free Melee, and Wii U with the situation. What Max is trying to tell a story is that yes, in between 2014 to 2016 is that because due to the fact that the Wii U wasn't selling. Good system in my opinion, Nintendo games in HD, but that's a keyword, Nintendo games, it wasn't selling. And there wasn't a point in the financial report that some insider from Nintendo said, the investors and the shareholders said, you gotta find way, you gotta figure out how to make money. How do you make us money? And unfortunately, I mean, one of the things that Iwata did, I guess, as he may be, I know, I mean, he's a great guy, believe me. I know it's unfortunate what happened to him. It sucks. Different story there. But what happened was Iwata made a decision that they're going to do is to basically claim the money from any video they use Nintendo product. And yeah, it is assy, but again, because Iwata was trying to find ways to make the company money. You don't, for people to understand that in the fiscal year of 2013 and 2014, it was bad. It was literally bad. They lost money to a point that the top executive were considering for Iwata to step down. Not get fired. Okay, people kind of confused that. Yes, Adam Sessler said, even Michael Pachter said Iwata should be fired. No. For me personally, I never said he should be fired. I said he should step down, not be a CEO anymore, but still work for Nintendo. That's what I said. I know a lot of people don't really give a care. The minute you say Iwata fired, step down, whatever, they don't like it. It's sort of an insult, which is people are being critical, man. You see what's happening with the Wii U. A lot of them are mostly Iwata's decision. Again, great person, very innovating. Yes, it's not business centric, but that's why people like him. But there was a point that they were consider him to be stepping down from Nintendo CEO because he wasn't doing good. But they said, well, we're going to give him a second chance because he did good with Mario Kart 8. That's the reason why they said, yeah, we're going to give you a chance. A lot of people are not happy. Again, different story there. But at the same time, that's why the Content ID claims on the Nintendo video, and they created this Nintendo Partners program, which is, yeah, a lot of people didn't like it. It's because they're trying to find ways desperately to make money. Because the Wii wasn't doing anything. They were basically had to cut their paycheck just to pay the company. And also, Max didn't mention this, but to some extent, the 3DS also was in the same boat as the Wii U, which is within 6 months, because of the PlayStation Vita undercutting the 3DS. Yeah, they had a emergency price cut to a point that the top executive had to cut their paycheck. And then, of course, they created the Nintendo Ambassador program for the people who bought the 3DS early, giving them free games. That was it. Yeah, I mean, you gotta think about that one too. The 3DS, the Wii U, didn't do good for Nintendo. They were losing money. So, yeah, that was bad. Yeah, and of course, you gotta keep in mind also Nintendo, they don't know how to handle trying to sell a console or the 3DS at a loss. They don't know how to do it. Remember, the Switch, they're not selling it at a loss. That's why the price for what it is. But the bottom line is, that's the reason why what Max was saying there on during the 2014 to 2015 and 2016 with the Wii U, they were desperately finding ways to make money. And then when Furukawa took over, when the Switch basically was selling, because again, it was better than the Wii U, they said, oh, well, we don't need the Nintendo Ambassador Partner YouTube program anymore. Yeah, we're removing it. And again, that's Furukawa's decision. opposite to what Iwata's doing. Yeah, there was a story about it. He said he felt like it was unnecessary. Because again, the difference between Iwata and Furukawa is more business centric, while Iwata is innovating and person centric. Yeah. So, like I said, there was a point that Iwata just said, well, we gotta find ways to make money. So they did the Content I.D claim. Of course, the Amiibo also was another one. It was very, 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 very cautious about it. People were getting pissed. So, again, desperate times cause desperate matter. This is what happened there. So now we're moving forward to what he said on Free Melee, hashtag Free Melee, and what's happening. Well, he said Nintendo is being arrogant again. Yes, when you're becoming a top dog or suddenly you're making a lot of money thanks to your product like the Switch. Remember, apparently in Japan, they're one of the most highest, richest company ever. So they're now starting to have the top dog syndrome. Now they can do things that they can get away with it, such as canceling a big tournament because they're now using real GameCube, which you can't even play online due to the pandemics. I mean, doesn't make sense. And Max said also, well, they should do a HD Melee for the Switch so the Smash community will be happy. Again, here's the problem. Nintendo don't give a shit. Like Max said, they don't give a shit. Are they going to do a Smash Melee on the Switch, HD-fied it? HD remastered, whatever? Probably not. It's going to be a waste of their money. Do they care about the esports? No. What was the most closest thing that Nintendo support esports? By doing nothing and letting them do whatever they do and just putting their name in and said, okay, we're going to put our name, we're going to say, okay, do whatever you want. There you go, like he said. And like Max also said, they don't have somebody who's in esports yet, because unfortunately, there is no that person, important person, that key community manager person that can talk to Nintendo Japan and the Smash community. They don't have somebody like that. There's no one. There's no, like he said Killian, Combo Fiend, Yoshinori Ono, Harada, Ono, believe it or not, they're in tune with the FGC, Daisuke, Mori, to some extent, a lot of people. But when it comes to Nintendo, they don't. So you might say, well, what about Sakurai? Okay, here's the thing about Sakurai. You're not probably going to like this, but I read this in the internet, and here's the thing about Sakurai. First, believe it or not, he used to be a competitive player. Yes, he used to be a tourney player when he was young. But when he started to do game design, he left that behind. And the thing also is that you got to keep in mind is he's not really interested with esports. Believe it or not. Yeah, you might say, oh, you're lying. That's B crap. Believe me or not, it does matter not, but the bottom line is that's most people heard, that he doesn't care about esports. He just likes people to have fun playing game together in the same room. That's why the online sucks, because again, he's putting that secondary. And the thing is that for him personally, that Smash Brothers, the game itself, is not a fighting game, but a party brawler. That's it. But later on, he did say fighting game because apparently he's getting a lot of noises from the Smash community about it. So he said, whatever, call it whatever you want. But what Sakurai, in his official opinion, the genre for Smash Brothers, the whole series, all 5 of them or 6, is a party brawler. That's it. Whether you like it or not, that's always been what he said. So you're going to say, well, Sakurai going to help us support the Smash community? Nope. Sorry, he's not. I mean, I can tell you how much. A lot of people know it. I mean, it's on the internet. Like, when they ask him about esports, it's like, hey, nope. He's not interested. I mean, he left that behind. The tournament skill, his tournament passion, he left that behind to be a game designer. That's why there was a controversy when a Smash competitor asked Sakurai in E3 2014, say that, here's the story from what I heard, is that if I can play you, Sakurai, in a one-on-one for glory match, would you let the Smash community help debug your game. And what Sakurai said, have you designed a game ever? Yeah. So I mean, granted, it's kind of douchey for Sakurai, but I hate to say it, that particular person had that coming. What were you thinking? I mean, you're better than Sakurai? Are you serious? I mean, he's a game designer. He's not into esports. So, I mean, with Ultimate, yeah, granted that he actually hired some Smash competitive players, probably so people won't whine and complain about the game. But, you know, whatever. So, yeah, the bottom line is, if you think about Sakurai going to help the Smash community to make it esports worthy, no chance, man. No chance. So, yeah. I mean, that's what Nintendo is. The bottom line is that when it comes to competitive scene, esports, Smash tournament, whatever, for Nintendo, that's just secondary. It's not important for them. It's just extra money for it. That's what it is. So, yeah, it is bad because now they're becoming arrogant. Nintendo, just like Sony with their censorship, because they're being top dog, they're making money. But, you know, all you have to do is just make noise, let your voice heard. But the bottom line you got to keep in mind is that Nintendo, when it comes to esports, it's not important for them. They don't care to the extent. I mean, I don't know what to say about that one, man. If you say I'm just making this up, sorry, you can look it up on the internet. There have been stories about it. That, like I said, Furukawa said, esports for them, it's secondary. And that's the thing, before I close with what Max said, that the best help that Nintendo can ever offer to the Smash community is ignore the Smash community, let them do whatever. And they did that for a while. They let it, they just put their name, say, here's their name, you're good to go, do whatever you want. We're not going to interfere. There you go. Because again, they need to make money. They gotta make Nintendo get more exposure. There you go. But now, all suddenly, out of nowhere, because they're making a lot of money, they just had their financial report, and every time they report what's happening, sales. We're making a lot of sales. Animal Crossing sales. Smash Brothers, Mario Kart 8. Switch is starting to sell. It's surpassing the Nintendo, the Wii U, the Super Nintendo, the GameCube. I mean, whatever. No, they're becoming arrogant, and this is what happened. It sucks. So, yeah, that's my response to Maximilian doing in the Smash community about hashtag free melee. Good luck. Hopefully it works out. But like I said, this is the reason why I'm telling the story about it, is Nintendo don't go well with esports. They don't really give a shit. Don't take it personal. So you heard that video about Nintendo versus esports, why they sort of don't really prioritize it. So apparently there's a follow-up, and I've been following to some extent about the story, and yeah, it's really not surprising. Like I said before in that previous section, Nintendo don't really embrace the esports scene, only if it benefits them. And Furukawa even admitted that they said, when we see esports, it's a secondary business for us that benefits. That's it. So if it doesn't benefit them, why should we do it? Again, messed up. I mean, doesn't understand the community fans, the dedication, that more exposure means they'll understand that, oh, more product, like there's a connection. But they don't see that because they see, what would people want to play Melee if there's Ultimate? It doesn't make sense. I mean, again, not thinking outside the box to some extent. It is really unfortunate because sadly, I hate to say it, Iwata was also in the same situation, that when it comes to Japan, he kind of understands the market, but when it comes outside, he doesn't know what's going on, that he has to think outside the box, and he's trying about it. So, I mean, he does do a good job, but again, to some extent, it is what it is there. So apparently a lot of updates happening. That why is it that they supporting Splatoon and ARMS? Well, in actuality, barely. Because apparently there's some certain situation and rule they have to follow in order to do a official Splatoon esports or an official ARMS, and the tournament organizer, they're showing the frustration. So again, no surprise there. Of course, if you heard it by now, Splatoon, there was supposed to be a streaming tournament. It was shut down because some of the team members were making hashtag free melee. I guess Nintendo didn't like that. They made some weird reason, like unexpected executional challenges, whatever. In other words, they didn't want to deal with this crap. They don't want to deal and challenge the people, so they just say, you know what? That's it. This is where you're gonna go. Boom. So again, it's gonna show again. If it doesn't go Nintendo's way, they don't give a crap. Again, there's nothing else to say. It sucks. I think it's BS, but it's within the right. Remember, to some extent, they gotta do what they gotta do to protect their intellectual property. Nintendo's a very old Japanese company. This is how they follow. So another thing before I close this is someone wrote that said that the problem was it's Nintendo America, not Nintendo Japan. I don't know about that, but I hate to say this. From what I heard, is that Nintendo Japan are the one that's very stubborn. Nintendo America, they can understand all of this, but again, you know who their boss is, Furukawa. So if Nintendo Japan don't get it and they don't care, you can't do anything about it, because it was the same situation with Reggie and Iwata. Iwata and Reggie are good friends, but to some extent, Reggie still has to answer Iwata. There have been times when Reggie's kind of sort of challenge Iwata, but again, it works, whatever, but it is what it is there. So again, it is Nintendo Japan. From what I heard, a lot of this are in the final decision. Sucks it may be, but that's how it works. And then another one is, during the time with Iwata and Reggie running Nintendo, it was a better place. That's so quite. Like I said before in my previous video, when the Wii U and the 3DS didn't sell well, that they had to cut the price and cut their paycheck. And I said before, in the financial report, one of the investors said, you better figure out how to make us money. And of course, one of them was Content I.D claim on Nintendo. Every time you use anything Nintendo related, so that's why people don't even bother. Another one is the Amiibo. They were very limited because he didn't know, so he was just testing the water, but then it didn't fix it in the long run. It took a really long time, but at least they did that. Region lock was also Iwata. People said they wanted region free, but he said, no, it doesn't benefit the consumer, which definitely doesn't make sense. It benefits the business, yes, but not the consumer. So he didn't want that. And to some extent, whether you like or not, Nintendo are very stubborn when listening to fans. There have been times that they say, hey, you should do this, you do that. Maybe it benefits you, but again, it's either they don't want to do it or they can't do it, whatever. Common one that a lot of people have said since the 3DS is put an achievement on the Wii U, on the Switch, and as right now the Switch doesn't have an actual system-based achievement. It has in-game achievement that a lot of third parties are just doing it, but again, it's better than nothing there. So bottom line is, like I said before, I'm sorry to say, but I'm going to stick to the belief that, yeah, Nintendo don't really support the esports scene to some extent. They're like, hey, if it benefits us, we'll support you, but if it doesn't, then we're done. We're not doing this. Hey, don't take it personal. It sucks, but it is what it is. So anyway, that's my thoughts on the Nintendo versus esports situation. Yes, it is more than meets the eye, so especially with the Splatoon and the ARMS. Apparently, they're also having some hurdles. I mean, apparently, even when people put like a soundtrack on YouTube so people can listen, they're blocking that too, so that's even bad. Yeah, hopefully they'll change. Hopefully in January 2021 when the financial report comes, hopefully an investor do kind of report like what's going on, because they do kind of see this. But the sad part is that unless it doesn't benefit the investors, they're not going to care. I mean, it is what it is. That's just business 101 there. So with that, I'll see you guys later.